You buy a bag of salad greens at the store. $3, maybe $4. You bring it home, you tuck it in the crisper drawer at the bottom of the refrigerator, and you feel good about yourself. You're going to eat healthy this week. And then Wednesday comes, and you pull that drawer open, and there it is. The bag has gone soft. The edges of the leaves have turned that translucent brown, that wet, slimy brown, and the whole thing smells a little off. You paid $3 for a bag of greens, and you're carrying most of it, straight to the trash can. It happens in my house too. It happens in every house. Now look up, look at your kitchen windowsill. That little strip of sun that comes through the glass every morning, and just falls on the counter, and does nothing. What if I told you that on that windowsill, in a shallow tray no deeper than your finger, you could grow the freshest, greenest, most alive food in your whole house, and have it ready to cut with a pair of scissors in 10 days. Not 10 weeks. 10 days. Cheaper than that bag, fresher than anything the store has ever sold you, and it never once sees a crisper drawer. There's no luck in this. There never was. The Lord built an order into a seed, and that order does not care whether you have a big garden or no garden at all. A seed knows how to become food. It knew it before you opened the packet. We're the ones who forgot how simple it is to let it. There was a time nearly every household in this country knew this by heart. During the hard years, folks grew food on windowsills and fire escapes and back steps because they had to, and they knew a little seed and a little water would feed you fast when nothing else would. That knowledge didn't die because it stopped working. It died because the store got convenient and nobody needed to write it down. I'm Pastor Robin. I've kept a garden most of my life. I learned it the way most good things get learned, from people older than me who never wrote any of it down. And the first job God ever handed a human being wasn't to preach, it was to tend a garden. I've never forgotten that. And I'll tell you, of everything I grow, this little tray of green on the windowsill might be the one that surprises people the most. There was a widow in my parish, years back, who couldn't keep a garden anymore, and yet she grew fresh food all through the winter on one sunny windowsill in her little apartment. She fed herself green, living food in January, standing at her own sink. That's what I'm going to show you. The garden store will sell you a fancy grow light kit for $60, and a special seed blend for another $15, and a plastic dome, and a heat mat. You don't need any of it. You need a shallow tray, a handful of ordinary seed, a little potting soil, and that strip of sun you already have. That's the whole thing. And by the end of this, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it, and more important, why each step works. So you're not just copying me, you understand it. And you can do it again all winter long. Most folks get one part of this backwards, and it's the part that decides whether you get a lush green tray or a fuzzy gray mess. Stay with me to the end for that one, because it's the mistake I made the first 3 times I tried this. Come on out to the garden with me. Breathe. God is here. Let's get our hands dirty. Now, before we touch a single seed, let me tell you why this matters. Because it's more than a bag of salad. Think about what you spend in a year on fresh greens that wilt before you eat them. A few dollars a week, most of it thrown out, adds up to a couple $100 a year, going soft in a drawer. Meanwhile, a bag of seed the size of your fist costs a few dollars and grows tray after tray after tray. But it's bigger than money. For a lot of folks I know, especially the ones on in years, gardening got hard. The knees don't bend to the ground anymore. The big beds got to be too much. And so they gave up growing anything and started depending entirely on a store to feed them. This right here gives it back. No bending, no digging, no weeds, no weather, just a tray at counter height, a window, and 10 days. God gave us this ground to feed ourselves, and if the ground has gotten too far away to kneel on, He put the whole miracle into a seed you can grow standing at your own sink. Let me show you how. Number 1. Start with the right seeds, because this is where most people waste their money before they even begin. You do not need a special microgreen seed blend with a fancy label and a fancy price. What you want, if you're just starting, are 5 that are nearly foolproof. Broccoli, radish, pea, sunflower, and mustard. Let me tell you why those 5. Broccoli is the gentle one, mild, a little sweet, and it comes up fast and even, so it's the one that gives a beginner an easy win the first time. Radish is the show-off. It germinates so fast it'll almost startle you. It grows a beautiful pink and green stem, and it has a real peppery bite, like a fresh radish, right there on a sandwich. pea gives you those tender little pea shoots that taste exactly like a fresh spring pea, crunchy and sweet. And children who won't touch a vegetable will eat those by the handful. Sunflower is the hearty one, thick and nutty, almost like a nut and a green at the same time, and it fills a plate. And mustard brings the heat, a sharp horseradish kick for the folks who like a little fire. Buy those as plain seed, by the ounce or the pound, not in a tiny expensive packet. An ounce of broccoli seed is a lot of trays. That's your first savings right there. Number 2, get yourself a shallow tray with drainage. And I mean shallow. You are not growing a root system here, so you do not need depth. A tray an inch or an inch and a half deep is plenty. It can be a proper seed tray. It can be the black plastic tray a store plant came in. It can be an old baking pan. I've used a clean takeout container more than once. The one thing that matters is that water can get out the bottom. Poke holes in it if it doesn't have them. Here's why that's not optional. These seeds are packed in tight and kept damp. And damp with nowhere to drain is how you grow mold instead of greens. Drainage is the difference between a fresh tray and a rotten one. Set that draining tray inside a second solid tray with no holes, so it catches the water and doesn't run all over your counter. That bottom tray is going to earn its keep in a minute, so hang on to it. Number 3. Lay down a thin, even bed of soil. Use an ordinary bagged potting mix, or if you'd rather not have soil in the kitchen, use coconut coir, which is that compressed brick of fiber you soak in water and it fluffs up clean and light. Either one works. You want a layer about an inch deep, maybe a little less, and here's the part people rush. Make it flat and even. Take your hand, or a little board, and gently press it level, like you're smoothing a bed. Then moisten it so it's damp all the way through but not soaking, not a puddle, just the wetness of a wrung-out sponge. Why flat and even? Because your seeds are going to sit right on top, and if your soil has hills and valleys, the seeds in the low wet spots drown, and the seeds on the high dry spots never sprout, and you get a patchy, sorry-looking tray. A level bed gives you a level carpet of green. Small thing, makes all the difference. Now, before the next step, 2 of our 5 seeds need a head start, so let me bring in cuppa. This is the little bit I wish somebody had told me. The big seeds, the pea and the sunflower, have a thick hard coat, and they come up much better if you soak them first. Put your peas or your sunflower seed in a jar of plain water the night before and let them sit overnight, 6 to 8 hours or so. They'll swell up and drink, and that softens the coat so they burst open fast and even instead of straggling in over a week. The little seeds, the broccoli, the radish, the mustard, those you don't need to soak at all. They're small enough to sprout on their own. Just the big 2 get the overnight bath. Number 4. Sow your seeds thick, and I mean thick. Thicker than anything your instincts as a gardener will let you do. This is the step that breaks people, because we spend our whole lives being told to space seeds out, give them room, thin the seedlings. Forget every bit of that here. You are not growing full plants. You are growing a dense little forest that you cut down young. So you scatter the seed until it's a single crowded layer covering the whole surface, seeds nearly shoulder to shoulder, almost touching but not piled in a heap. For the small seeds like broccoli and radish, that's a good pinch sprinkled evenly across the whole tray. Well, more than a pinch. My grandmother would have called it a pinch, but it's really a couple of tablespoons across a standard tray. For the fat-soaked seeds like pea and sunflower, lay them out so they carpet the soil in one solid layer. Why so thick? Because they're going to hold each other up. A dense stand of microgreens grows straight and tall and lush, all pushing up together toward the light, and you harvest the whole thing in one sweep. Sow them sparse and you get a thin, floppy, disappointing tray. Density is the secret to a full harvest. Once they're down, press them very gently into the soil so they make good contact, but do not bury them. They can sit right there on the surface. Number 5, and this is the one nobody expects. You're going to put them in the dark, and you're going to put a weight on top of them. This is the blackout step, and it's the difference between a strong tray and a weak one. You take that empty second tray, the solid one, and you turn it upside down and set it right on top of your seeds like a lid, so no light gets in. Then you set something with a little weight on top of it. A couple of books, a small brick, a jug of water. Not crushing, just firm, gentle pressure. And you leave it like that. For the little seeds, the broccoli and radish and mustard, 2 to 3 days. For the pea and sunflower, 3 to 4 days. Now, why in the world would you do that? 2 reasons, and they're beautiful. First, The darkness fools the seed. A seed in the dark thinks it's still buried underground, so it puts its energy into driving a root down and shoving a stem up, searching hard for the light it can't find. It grows stronger and taller, reaching for a sun that isn't there yet. And second, that little weight pressing down gives the stem something to push against. And pushing against resistance is exactly what makes them thick and sturdy instead of thin and weak. It's the same reason a tree on a windy hill has a stronger trunk than one in a sheltered yard. A little resistance builds strength, so you keep them covered, in the dark, under that gentle weight, and you check once a day, just to make sure the soil hasn't dried out. Number 6. After those few days, you lift the lid. And this is the moment that gets me every single time. Under there you'll find a pale, crowded, yellowish carpet of stems, all stretched up tall and reaching. No green in them yet because they've never seen the sun. And you carry that tray to your windowsill, to that strip of morning light, and you set it down. And I promise you, within a few hours, sometimes by that same afternoon, those pale stems begin to turn. The tips blush green, then the whole carpet greens up before your eyes as the light wakes up the color inside them. You want bright, indirect light. A sunny window is perfect, a south-facing one best. You do not need a special grow light to do this. That free strip of sun on your counter is enough. Turn the tray around once a day so they don't all lean one way toward the glass, and they'll stand up straight and even. Number 7. And here is the mistake I promised you, the one I made my first 3 trays, and the one that decides whether you win or lose. How you water. Do not pour water over the top of your greens. I know it's the natural thing to do. It's what we do with every other plant. But water sitting on those crowded little leaves in a warm kitchen is an invitation for mold, that fuzzy gray web that can ruin a whole tray overnight. Instead, you water from the bottom. Remember that solid tray underneath, the one I told you to hang on to? You pour a little water into that bottom tray, and the soil drinks it up through the drainage holes, from underneath, right to the roots, and the leaves stay dry. Bottom watering. That's the whole trick. If you'd rather, a very light misting from a spray bottle first thing in the morning is fine too, just enough to keep the surface from drying, never soaked. Keep the leaves dry and the roots damp, and you will never meet that gray fuzz. I met it 3 times before I learned. Learn from my trays instead of your own. Number 8. Harvest. This is the payoff, and it comes fast. Depending on which one you grew, somewhere between 7 and 14 days from the day you sowed, your tray is ready. Radish and broccoli are the quick ones, often ready in 7 to 10 days. Pea and sunflower take a little longer, more like 10 to 14. How do you know it's time? Look for the first true leaves. When you first see green, those are the seed leaves, the little rounded pair that comes up first. Give it a few more days and a second, differently shaped set begins to appear between them. Those are the true leaves, and that's your signal. Peak flavor, peak nutrition, right there. To harvest, you take a clean, sharp pair of kitchen scissors, gather a little handful of the greens, and snip them off just above the soil line. Cut what you need for tonight's plate, and leave the rest growing. It holds better in the tray than in the fridge. Rinse them gently, and eat them fresh that same day if you can. On a sandwich, on a salad, on top of a bowl of soup, scattered over eggs. Fresh, alive, and grown by your own hand at your own sink. Now let me set the scissors down for just a moment, because there's something in all this I don't want you to miss. When God laid out the whole of creation and looked at the human beings he'd made, this is what he told them. Then God said, "Behold, I have given you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth, and every tree whose fruit contains seed. They will be yours for food." Every seed-bearing plant, given to you, for food. That promise doesn't ask whether you own an acre or a windowsill. The same God who filled the fields with wheat put the whole of that promise inside a broccoli seed the size of a grain of sand, and told you it was yours. You didn't earn that. You didn't invent it. He gave it. And a tray of green on your windowsill in the dead of winter is that ancient promise keeping itself, right there in your kitchen, 10 days at a time. So let me put the whole thing back together for you, quick and plain, so you can write it down. 1. Start with easy seed, broccoli, radish, pea, sunflower, mustard, bought plain and cheap. 2. A shallow tray with drainage holes, sitting inside a solid tray that has none. 3. An inch of potting mix or coir, pressed flat and even, damp like a wrung-out sponge. Then soak your big seeds, the pea and the sunflower, overnight, and leave the little ones dry. 4. Sow the seed thick, a crowded single layer, and press it gently into the soil, don't bury it. 5. Cover it with the upside down tray and a light weight, and leave it in the dark, 2 to 3 days for the small seeds, 3 to 4 for the big ones, so they root deep and grow strong. 6. Uncover it, and set it in a sunny window, and watch it green up before your eyes. 7. Water from the bottom, never over the top, so you never grow mold. And 8. Snip it with scissors, at the first true leaves, 7 to 14 days in, and eat it fresh that day. That's the whole thing. That's fresh food, all winter, from a windowsill. Now, before I let you go, I want to hear from you. If your mother or your grandmother had her own way of doing this, some little trick for growing food in a small space when times were tight, put it down below. That old knowledge gets lost when nobody writes it down, and I read every single one.